Hello there ladies and gentlemen, ASCII here for NerfTV with our first bite of Strife, the second generation MOBA from S2 Games. Currently in closed beta, Strife is being developed by the creators of Heroes of Newerth, the largely overlooked sibling of League of Legends and Dota 2. Now, the MOBA genre is not exactly known for its friendly player base. In fact, the big three nearly always top polls for the worst communities and the most hostile players across the world, but S2 Games is determined to bring an end to that, and they claim that Strife will be the game to do it. To do this, they're designing Strife in a manner that will disarm abusive players and stamp out bad behaviour down to its core mechanics. If you've ever played even a few matches of one of these games, I have no doubt that you will either have been the victim of, or at least seen, teammates hurling abuse at each other. People get angry really fast in this genre, and small mistakes can cost you very big further down the line. Team members have different views on how a specific hero should be played, or what the best way to win is, and this quickly turns toxic. Other things like mistiming last hits or kill stealing can quickly lead to fights, and while these are team games, many of the mechanics within them do not actually encourage teamwork outside of the very highest levels. S2 are very aware that they can't fix the human race, people are jerks. However, what they can do is make design decisions to address the problems that cause these fights, giving players less reason to blame each other or get angry. The first of these is that you will not be able to talk to the opposite team during a match, and there will also be no automatic voice chat within your team. You will have it with any of your friends that you're partied with, and then you can choose to invite the rest of your teammates to it if you like, but only if you choose to, and of course you can kick them from it as well. The first part of this stops the opposition from stirring things up, and to be honest, there's no real reason to chat to the other team mid-game anyway. The second stops players from having the opportunity to be offensive before the match has even begun. It's not possible to record all voice conversations within the game, and that makes investigating harassment claims that have happened over voice chat impossible. However, it is possible to keep logs of text communication. These are both pieces of intelligent design. If the internet has taught us anything, it's that if you give an idiot a microphone and a captive audience, he will surely scream obscenities and racial slurs down it. The other decisions are more mechanic based. The first one of these is that you won't be able to see the cooldowns of your allies' skills. This should help lessen the ammunition in the post-death blame game that happens nearly every time a player dies, as it can never be your own fault that you lost. Another big source of contention between teammates is kill stealing, but Strife splits gold between players in the same lane from last hits and those that assisted in hero kills, making working as a team not only easier but more rewarding. A further problem is that in a MOBA, everyone thinks they should know how every hero is supposed to be played, and they won't hesitate to tell you if you're playing it wrong, you noob, or you bought the wrong items and should go uninstall the game. Well, Strife has a much more limited hero pool, but allows players to take those heroes down a number of different routes. You can still specialise in a specific role if you wish to, but you can easily build in different directions. There's one final system that helps stamp out bad behaviour, but that comes after the match itself. When a game ends, players can give out karma to other players, and this will in turn affect the rewards that they give out at the end of the match. To stop abuse, there's an algorithm in place that will detect if a player is downvoting others over and over, and their votes will become of less value when it comes to calculating rewards, and the same happens for positive votes. When someone's karma gets too low, they will not only get their rewards greatly diminished to a point where they're essentially getting coal, but they may also have their chat features turned off entirely. Having got my hands on the game for a while now, I can say it does seem to work pretty well. While the current player pool is very small as it's still in closed beta, so far I've not run into a single volatile player. The gold sharing system is fantastic, and I think it's the most important of these anti-harassment features. During the laning phase of the game, it makes a much more cohesive experience between partners, and as assists on heroes are well rewarded, you also feel far less fear of kill stealing from someone or having your kills stolen. I once had a game where masses of my kills were stolen and I ended up with 26 assists, however I still had the highest goal per minute of any player even though my total kills were quite low. The karma system is also a very intelligent solution to keeping players polite right through to the end of the game. It's something that will certainly require close monitoring to stop being abused, but it's something that will go a long way to forming a friendly community around the game, which in turn will go a long way towards Strife's success. These anti-harassment features aren't the only thing that's new to Strife though. You will also get a pet. These essentially replace summoner skills from League of Legends, but can also contain some elements of skill trees and rune pages. Essentially, they're the account progression system. Pets can be leveled using rewards from matches, and they provide passive and activatable abilities that will allow a player to further customise their hero. Pet levels will be taken into account during matchmaking so it doesn't become a buy to win feature, as you can spend real life money to get more rewards at the end of a match. It's a simple idea and it's easy to understand, and the visual representation of a pet is quite appealing. They also visually change as they level up in a very Pokemon-esque kind of way, although personally I would prefer my little tortoise to stay just as he is. It's one of the areas where the game is monetized, but I think it stays quite fair. The next set of features are designed to keep players in the action, giving better pacing and reducing downtime. There will not be wards in Strife that must be bought and placed down at regular intervals. Instead, the role of wards will be taken by pillars that are set into physical locations within the map. The most recent team to run past it will control the pillar and have vision of the area around it. Eventually it will wear out and be reset. Next up, there's a much quicker health and mana regeneration while out of combat than in other games. It allows you to stay in the lane longer and also recover health and mana while moving through the jungle to prepare for a gank, giving a slight shift in the tactics of the game compared to other MOBAs. To facilitate this further, you will also be able to have items brought out to your lane by a courier. So rather than having to return to base to pick them up, you can buy an item on the fly and have it brought to you automatically. Lastly, there's also boss mechanics like you would be used to if you've played MOBAs before. So the thing might be that you kill the boss and then your team gets a buff or a special item in other games. Well, Strife has done things a little bit differently. Killing Sindara unlocks Krytos, a giant ape guy who will push down the lane of your team's choosing, disabling towers and providing a big tanky presence. Every one of these features works great and it keeps you in the action longer and having more fun, but without having to go too far. You will need to keep an eye on your observation towers, but won't actually have to set specific players the job of spending money on wards, something that can also be a source of contention. The regeneration takes 10 seconds to kick in, which stops it from being overpowered to a point where you never have to return to base, and the courier system is fairly slow. The courier has to run out to you on the map and then return home before it can be called again, essentially animating a cooldown. Krytos is also a really cool idea. It gives the games more pace and initiates a big push, often speeding up the match and forcing your team to seize the moment. All of this allows you to focus more on the enjoyable parts of the game. You can even preload abilities to buy themselves in a specific order and have a list of items for your desired build in the shop to make purchasing faster. It's a lovely set of well polished features and the kind of iteration you would expect from a second generation MOBA. They've learnt from the past and these small changes keep the game true to the genre but improve the experience in a number of ways. The last system they've introduced is an option to change item crafting recipes to create your own custom items, which can in turn add more depth to your build choice. All items in the game are made up of components, a common system for most MOBAs, but in Strife it's possible to change the components up to customise an item's effects. This not only allows you to customise the final results of your build, but also the order you buy items in. So you may feel that you need a little bit more health early game, but you still want to get a Demon Fang as soon as possible. Well, you can swap a power shard out for a health shard and buy the health shard as a starting item. These items will degrade over time but can be enchanted to last longer, or even be permanent. They say the iteration is to push players to experiments, but I feel it's like a potential monetization point as crafting and enchanting both require a form of currency that is rewarded at the end of the games, and you can actually purchase more chances to get that currency with real life money. We'll have to see at release how it goes. At the moment it's not too bad, but we'll see. I should also note that matchmaking will take into account your items when looking for a match, so it won't become a pay to win feature no matter what. All in all, it looks like S2 have learnt from Hero to New Earth and looks closely at the competition, and while at first it may look like any other MOBA, the differences are distinct enough that you can quickly come to appreciate what they've done. For players who are new to MOBAs, Strife will be brilliant. It just needs to prove that it has the depth and high skill cap to keep those players around, and while S2 claim that they're not planning on pushing esports with their new title and leaving it to be a more casual game, if it's something that develops, they do say they will support it. We'll be keeping an eye on Strife in the coming months, so expect more coverage, but for now I've been Aski and you've been watching the FTV. Thank you all for watching.